Hello and welcome to the tutorial on robotic process automation using UiPath. The term robot in the robotic process automation does not indicate a physical robot but a virtual machine or a system that helps in automating a repetitive manual computing or business process tasks. So in this tutorial we're going to consider one example to build a workflow that swaps the values of two variables using a third variable. So these are the three tasks that we need to do using the UiPath Studio. The first one is ask the user to input two numeric values and store in two variables. And the second task is to swap values of both the variables with each other using a third variable. And then the last task is to display the initial and the swapped values of both the variables in the output panel. So now let us go to the UiPath Studio and let's create a process. So I'll just click on this process to allow you to give it a name and a description. I'll just name it as swapping two numbers, or in fact I can just say swapping numbers. So in the description I can say swapping of two numbers using a third variable. Just a description describes the process. So I just create it. So it's going to take a while to restore all the dependencies and creating the workspace for us, wherein we can define the sequence of tasks. So it will add up all those necessary files that are required in order to work with the automation. Here we go. So we are ready with the workflow creation. So let me open up the main workflow for this. Yeah, so this is it. So the first task is to create a sequence, because we are trying to add a series of activities and tasks in this sequence. So the first task is to get the two values from the user and then store them in two different variables. So I'll just search for input dialog, wherein I can get the user input. So I'll just drag it and drop here. So the title is I'll say enter the, or I can say this, enter the value here in the label. Ter the value of, say, A. I'm going to create a variable called as A, and in the title I'll say A, a simple A. Okay, so let me go and create three different variables that are required for working out with this example. So this is a variables tab which is situated here, wherein I can create the very different sort of variables that I'm going to use in this example. So I'll just click on here and it'll ask for the name of the variable. I'll say A, and I'll just change the type of the variable to be equal to int 32, and then default value you can specify if it is required, and then I'll create one more variable, that is B. Again I'll just change the type here to be int 32, and I'll create one more variable, that is C, and with the same int 32 variable type. So I'll just close up this variables tab by clicking on this, and we are here at this input dialog with A, wherein we are trying to get the value for A. I'll say getting A. And in the right side of this, we'll see a property tab or a property panel, wherein the entire set of details with respect to each and every activity will be displayed, and whatever the value that I received from the user will be stored in this particular result property. So here I'll say A. I would like to store the value of A in this A variable. Okay. Similarly, I'll drag one more input dialog for getting the value of B, and here I'll say B, and I'll just give it a label as enter the value of B, and here I can change it depending on the type of task that I'm accomplishing. So here we go. So we are trying to read two different values here, and sorry, this is B. Yeah, so I should be able to store the value of B in the B variable that I've created. So here I'll say B. So A and B are created now. So now what we shall do here is we shall simply display these two values, the initial values A and B. I'll say initial values. In fact, I should have them in the quotation because it's a string. Initial values, and I'll do a plus symbol here just to concatenate the strings, and I'll say A here. A is equal to A dot toString, and then I'll just add one more plus symbol here, and B is equal to B dot toString. In fact, we need to add the braces here in both the cases so that it gets displayed. Okay, let us try to run this file and see whether it can display us the values of A and B. So let me click on this debug file. Now it started debugging, and it started the execution. The first task is to read the value of A. So here I will say 5 and hit on the OK button, and next it will ask for the value of B. Here I'll say 10 and I'll hit on OK button. Yeah, and it will display us the message box with initial values A equal to 5 and B is equal to 10. Now the execution has stopped. We are back to the design tab. Okay, now the task is to reverse the values of A and B with the help of a third variable. So how to do that? So we have already created a third variable C here. So the next task is to reverse the values of A and B. So how to do that? So for that we have an activity called as assign. So we'll use this assign activity below this, and here I'll say C because it's the to value, and enter the expression it says. So I'll say A, right? Initially I'll store the value of A into the C variable, and I'll make use of one more assign activity here, and I'll say A is equal to B, wherein I'm trying to store the value of B in A. Okay, I need one more assign activity here, wherein the value of B is restored from the C variable where it stored the value of A. So B is equal to C. Okay. So this is how I interchange the values of A and B using the third variable C. Now the ultimate task is to display it using a message box. So I'm dragging the message box here, and here I'll say the swapped values. A is equal to A dot toString. I'll have the brackets, and then I'll add a plus symbol here as well as here, and again I'll write the codes, and then I'll say B is equal to, and then one more plus symbol. I'll say B dot toString function, just to convert the integer value to the string, because we are trying to concatenate here. That's it. We are done with this. So let us save this file and let us start the debugging. Okay. Yeah, so it has started debugging the file, and it says swapping numbers execution started. So the process execution is started. So it is asking me to enter the value of 5, say A. So I'll say 5, and it says enter the value of B, and say 10. I'll hit OK. So initial values are A equal to 5 and B is equal to 10. Now if I hit on the OK button, now it says the swapped values are A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 5. So this is how we try to work out with the various automation tasks by dragging the required tasks into the required activities into the main working area wherein we are trying to create the sequences. So this is how we swap two different values using a third variable. If I hit on the OK button, it will go back to the design tab again, so that we can create more and more such sequences. Thank you.